Welcome to our students at Baverstock Academy and Baverstock in the City. In this video we are going to look at writing a letter, but first we need to know who our target audience is going to be. I'd just like to remind you that you can pause or rewind the video whenever you want to. Also that everything that is in this video is in your workbook. If you haven't got a workbook, then please ask your teacher for one. We're now going to have a look as to what we mean by the words target audience. Our target audience is the person or group of people to whom we are writing or speaking. The target audience for any writing and speaking will determine the type of language that we use, whether we use formal language or informal language. If we were writing or speaking to a friend, we would use different language, we'd use different words than if we were applying for a job. So, who might our target audience be? They might be children, they might be adults, they might be families, they might be teenagers, they could be parents, older people, teachers, students, employers, tourists, people on holiday, people visiting somewhere, sports fans, customers. Can you think of any more? If you can, write your answers in your workbook. One thing that is very important, and you mustn't forget, always ask yourself this question: is what we have written suitable for our target audience? Let us now look at the type of language that we might use, and this is important. We would be more likely to use informal language when we're writing or speaking to a friend, and formal language when we're applying for a job. This is important. In the exam, if we use the wrong type of language for the task we have been asked to do, we will gain few, if any, marks for it. So why do people write letters? Well, they might write a letter to apply for a job, to ask for information from someone, to provide or give information to someone. They might want to keep in touch with a friend. They might want to say thank you to someone. Or they might want to give an invitation for a party or something, and they would write a letter for that purpose. I just want to remind you that everything that is in this video is in our workbook. We must ask our teacher for a workbook if we do not have one. This video is going to look at how we should write a letter to apply for a job. We have seen an advert in the Birmingham Mail for weekend and holiday work. This is the advert that we've seen in the Birmingham Mail. Situations vacant. Cattery requires young person to help look after the cats at weekends and during the summer holidays. Must be aged 14 or over and like cats. Please apply in writing to Miss Kitty McCatty, Cats Are Us, The Sanctuary, Moggy Road, Druids Heath, Birmingham, B14 5AB. There is a standard way of writing a formal letter, and we'll have a look how we do it here. On the top right-hand side of our piece of paper, we write our address. Underneath that, we write today's date. On the opposite side of the piece of paper, underneath the date, but on the opposite side, on the left-hand side, we will write the name and address of the person or the company who we're writing to. Now we're ready to begin our letter proper, and we start off on the same side as we've written the name and address of the person or the company who we're writing to, we write dear something. If we know the name of the person who we're writing to, then we put it here. If we do not, then we write dear sir or dear madam. And if we don't know whether we're writing to a man or a woman, then we will write dear sir stroke madam. In our first paragraph, we will write who we are and why we're writing this letter. In our second paragraph, we'll give enough detail so that the reader can get the message, so that the reader can learn a little bit more about us. We should leave a space between our paragraphs. It makes the letter look good. And finally, well, almost finally, in our third paragraph, we should write some closing remarks. And these should be written in such a way as to get the reaction that we want. In this letter, we could say when we can attend for an interview, that we look forward to hearing from Miss McCatty soon, etc. For the ending of our letter, if we began our letter with dear sir or madam, then we always end with yours faithfully. If we began our letter with the person's name, then we always end with yours sincerely. And if you don't know that, you just simply need to learn it, and it is important. And now we sign our name underneath. And the last important rule when writing a formal letter is this: no slang and no shortened word forms. For example, you're not going to write it's, you're going to write it is. You're not going to write can't, you would write cannot. If we do not do this, we will lose marks in the exam. If we do not stick to this rule, it is very, very important. We're now ready to write our letter. Our address will go in the top right-hand corner of our sheet of paper, 11 Anywhere Street, Druids Heath, Birmingham. We follow that with our postcode, B14 5CD, and we follow that with today's date. Underneath that, but on the opposite side of our paper, on the left-hand side of our paper, we're going to write the name and address of the person who we're writing to. So we will write here Miss Kitty McCatty, Cats Are Us, The Sanctuary, Moggy Road, Druids Heath, Birmingham, and we will follow that with her postcode B14 5AB. We're now ready to begin the letter proper, and we start with the greeting, where we write dear something. We know the name of the person to whom we are writing, so we write it like this: Dear Miss McCatty. We don't write Dear Kitty. That would not be polite because we don't know her. Neither do we write Dear Miss Kitty McCatty. We just need to write the title, in this case Miss, and the last name or surname, Miss McCatty. And now for the first paragraph. Remember, in this paragraph we need to say who we are and why we're writing this letter. We can write something like this: My name is Luke Roberts and I am 14 years old. I would like to apply for the job advertised in the Birmingham Mail, looking after your cats at weekends and in the summer holidays from school. That is enough information for the first paragraph. In the second paragraph, we need to include some more detail so that Miss McCatty can see why we are suitable for the position advertised. We can write something like this: I like cats very much. We have 5 cats at home and I help with feeding them and cleaning their toilet trays. I am a student at Baverstock in the city. When I leave school, I hope to go to college to train to be a veterinary nurse. Helping to look after your cats would be valuable experience for me. In our closing paragraph, we could write something like this: I am honest and reliable, and I am a good timekeeper. I have also been told that I have the ability to understand how a cat might feel, so I know I would be very loving with your cats. I would be pleased to meet with you for an interview any day after school or at any time during the weekend. My teacher, Mr. Lewis, would be pleased to give me a reference. I look forward to hearing from you soon. And now for the ending. Because we began our letter with Dear Miss McCatty, we must also end our letter with yours sincerely. Underneath this, we will sign our name. And almost finally, before we post our letter, we need to check a few points. Have we used formal language? We must remember that slang words and the shortening of words are not allowed. Have we checked our grammar, punctuation and spelling? It is important because it won't look very good on us if we haven't got correct grammar, punctuation and spelling. Does our letter look good? Have we left a space between each paragraph? Have we put everything in the right place? This is the layout of our letter, what it should look like. Now I know it's very small and you're not going to be able to read it, but I just wanted you to see what it looks like when it's complete. It is in your workbook, so you will be able to see it much clearer in your workbook. But what you will notice is that in our top right-hand side of our paper, we've got our own address, and underneath that, we've got today's date. On the opposite side, on the left-hand side of our paper, we've got the name and the address of the person we're writing to. Underneath that, we've got the greeting, Dear Miss McCatty. Then we've got the 3 paragraphs with a nice little space between each paragraph. Makes it look better. Then we have the ending, yours sincerely, because we began with Dear Miss McCatty, so we end with yours sincerely, and then finally our signature. Remember, we can pause or rewind the video whenever we want to. Also remember that everything that is in this video is in our workbooks. And the final thing to remember is this: our teachers are there to help us whenever we need it. Good luck.